track and field news for some reason. The guy called me up and was asking me something. Anyway, a lot of times a competition, your ultimate performance is going to come from your intensity, your fervor for the event. And I was in a mall one time, killing time when my wife was shopping, and there was a dragster. You know, sometimes they put them on display. They had a thing that's got this funny car thing. It was a long, skinny thing. Well, anyway, I was looking in the dashboard, and of course they're not finished. I mean, they're ugly looking. But this one particular one had these toggle switches. You know, click them up and down. And the guy was standing there explaining what they were all about, what they did. And I said, well, what's the first one? He said, well, I just kind of, you flip that on, it warms the fuel. And the second one was some sort of a mixer, and the third one starts the pump, and the fourth one was something else, and so on. Well, there were about 6 of these switches, and the last one was red. I said, well, what's that one? He said, that's an explosion. You flip that sucker on, and the fuel's mixed, and everything goes, and you're, you know, hair, teeth, and eyes till you get to the other end of the track. And I just thought to myself, if you could imagine yourself having some switches across your chest, and the first switch is the one that gets you out of bed in the morning. I mean, this is not very special, just your feet hit the floor and you go whatever, wash your face and whatever. The second switch gets you dressed and maybe get you on the school bus or get you to the car and get you to school. The third one gets you around all day, you know, up and down stairs and in and out of your chairs and whatever you do. The fourth one is probably going to practice and warming up. Say everything's a little bit progressive, but you got to get to the fourth one just to get to practice and warm up. The fifth one might be a pretty darn good, you know, pretty good effort. But the red one over here, that's the one that a lot of athletes just don't go for. They just don't want to switch that, because that means you're going to be vulnerable. You're going to risk everything. You're going to go all out. You're going to get a little glassy-eyed, a little crazy, and that one is the one that gives you the chance. And I tell you, you got to learn how to do it, because I'll tell you, most of the time you get through the day at about 4 and 5. See? You just don't go to the red one. A lot of people have a red switch that's got rust and dust and cobwebs and whatever else, because it's just not being used. Because they're either talented enough, or they don't care enough, or whatever, that they can get whatever degree of success that they want, that they think is good enough, without going there. And then all of a sudden you go to the state meet, you go to the Golden West, you go to something bigger, and you say, damn, these guys are something else. See, all of you kind of admitted you didn't have a lot of competition, right? But there's some competition. What happens when you show up there and that 4 red switch is just all covered with rust and crust and dust and cobwebs, and you know, and you're thinking, I ain't going to win this. I can't show up well because I'm not prepared. I think you need to flip that switch once in a while. Whatever kind of thing you got to do, whatever games you have to play with your coach or whatever you got to do with yourself. If we do something at Arkansas that's different than some people, I think that's what it is. Our practices are fairly confrontational regularly, not just once in a great while, regularly. And I maintain that competition is confrontational. You know, I maintain is you're going to rarely go to a track meet of any consequence, and it's not going to be confrontational. And if you don't know how to deal with that aspect of athletics, you're a little bit lost. You're a little bit bewildered. You're a little bit like, dang, what's this all about? And see, to get to a practice session at Arkansas, generally speaking, you're either going to hit the red button or you're not going to look good. Because Brian Wellman's going to hit the red button. You know, Robert Howard is going to hit the red button because Brian did. I mean, you're going to end up out there needing to hit that red button, and the red button means you risk everything. You're not holding back, you're not being careful, you're not being this, you're not being that, you're going nuts. You're going after it. That's the way you need to practice. You've got to get there on a regular basis, because that's the only way you're going to be comfortable in that situation as me. If you're always comfortable, if you're always just practicing and everything's easy and everything's soft and no digging down and no making it happen and all that, sooner or later, it might not be in your conference meet, it might not be in your district meet, it might not be in your regional meet, it might not even be in your state meet, but you go to the Golden West, the Golden South, the Junior Nationals, or whatever it is, I promise you, you're going to run into somebody that's going to make you go to the red switch, or lose, whichever you prefer. And so all the work that you put into your career, all the lifting and running and hopping in the sand and pulling sleds and doing the things you do, if you neglect to incorporate the emotional part of it, you know, it's like having this beautiful machine of some kind. Pick out your favorite kind of Mercedes or BMW, whatever, and you just don't have you put regular gas in it. Oh yeah, it'll start, it'll run, it'll look okay, and it'll probably get you there, but it isn't what it could be, because you just haven't given it the whole thing. You know, you've got to put that high octane in it that it really needs, so it can be just all it can be. And that's kind of the way a lot of guys compete. Unfortunately, I've coached quite a few of those, and it's kind of a shame. Now, I guess I'm planting this seed in your head because you're going to either be that kind of a guy or you're not. See? You're going to be the kind of guy that kind of cruises through competitions, and you win a few and you lose a few, and a few of them are okay and a few of them aren't okay, and this and that. And I really believe you can do better than that. You know, I don't think